Okay, now we're going to move on to the next part. All right, so now we're going to extend our build here, right? We're coming off this P-trap here, and we're going to get one of our 12-inch pieces here, and we're going to install this to the end of our P-trap here. Okay. The next thing we're going to do here is we're going to move on and we're going to install what I call this an extension. All right, this allows us to put two pieces together. All right, now at this point what we're going to do is, as you can see, I've got a 12-inch piece installed right here, okay? This is just temporary. I'm not sure exactly how long or how big the piece is going to be. So just go ahead and place it up here just so you get an idea as to where everything needs to run, okay? So you got your extension installed here. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go put the P-trap on so we can have a temporary idea as to where it's supposed to go. All right, so we installed a 12-inch piece here because we haven't cut it yet. We haven't decided how long or short it needs to be. So we're going to go ahead and install this P-trap to help us determine that. Now, one of the cool things about these P-traps is they got a long extension here, so you can be a couple of inches, too long and adjust it so that it's shorter or longer, whatever you need to do. And this is what I'm talking about. See how much room I can bring it up and down? So I like that. This is kind of nice. All right, so you're just going to go ahead and put it in here. And of course, you're going to be lining up your two tanks here. You've got your gray water tank and you got your fresh water tank. Since on this particular setup, this is how we've chosen to mount it, with the gray water and the fresh water on the outside. We're going to set it up so that we got plenty of room to do just that. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to put our elbow on, right? You got our elbow here. So install your elbow. Right. So remember, everything's going to be adjustable. Make sure everything is loose enough to where you can adjust everything and have whatever, gap adjusted or whatever. And this P-trap, you're not going to go, the other P-traps, we cut it to 4 inches. This one here, you're going to end up eyeballing. So it's about 4 inches, but I'm not really, I don't want you to think, okay, because it depends on where you install this sink. So I didn't give you a measurement here. I want you to place this piece on here and kind of eyeball it, okay? So you're not going to, those other 3 that we cut down to be 4 inches exactly, because they're all lined up right next to each other. Because this drain is in a different section on the sink, I'm not going to give you a measurement here. I want you to line it up, eyeball it, and then cut it, okay? Once you've done that, you've kind of lined it up, you take a look, see how it looks compared to the other side, then you go ahead and cut it, and then install this this joint over here. All right. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a piece that's about 1 1/4 inches, okay? We're going to cut this to 1 1/4 inches, and the reason we're going to do that is we're going to install this next to the elbow, and right next to the elbow we want this T so that we can put our drain that goes into our gray water tank. So go cut yourself a piece that's 1 1/4. Put your little gasket on it there. Apply the first side of the 1 1/4 piece. Kind of tighten this down good, because you're going to need as much room as you can, being as small as that is. Next thing you know, put your nut on. And a little gasket there. Okay. Next thing, you're going to take your T here. You're going to place it on the edge and tighten it down. Okay, there you go. We got everything adjustable here. We can still move everything. Okay, so now that we have an idea as to how far this is going to be coming out and how long everything is, you're going to take this next piece. You haven't cut it yet. You're going to install it to this extension. Alright, so once you have this installed to the extension here, and you got an idea as to about the length that you need, you're going to get out your marker, right? On your piece, it's probably going to be coming out about this far, or however much room you got. So on your piece, you're going to go ahead and mark it and cut it, okay? Adjust this part right here to where you think it's going to want to go. You've got this piece coming out. Obviously, your piece comes out about yay far. So you're going to adjust this to where you think you're going to want it, mark it, and then you're going to cut it, okay? Okay, so you cut your piece, you put it on right here now. You're gonna put your... Okay, so you want this adjustable. Now that you've got everything the way that you like, take a look at it, try and make it nice and level. I like to make this come down a little bit further. I like all that water to drain in this direction so that it has no problem draining, okay? So what I do in order to make that happen is I adjust this a little bit lower, okay? See how this goes up and down? I adjust this so everything runs down in this direction, okay? Okay, so now you're just going to mess with it, you know. You've got it aligned up here. Everything looks level to you. It looks like the water is going to run down at this angle because we've got it adjusted just a little bit. And if you find you need to cut, then you're going to go ahead and cut it. All right, though, so at this part of the build here, I figured out that this is about 1 inch too long, right, for me to get everything adjusted. So after adjusting this, I decided I'm going to bring this down to 11 inches. But I want you to determine your own measurement, okay? Remember, this is our 12-inch piece that we got sitting down here, and it should be a little bit too long. So you'll determine, you know, you'll see how much play you got with this thing. And I personally cut mine to 11 inches, right? I took this and I did this to 11 inches, but your installation may be different. Your hand washing sink may be sitting higher or lower than mine, so don't go by my 11 inches. Determine for yourself, get out your tape measure, see what you need here to cut this as, figure out what it needs to be, measure it, and take a look at it. When you're determining the length, look and see whether you're level, if you have room to go up and down. So once you've decided where it needs to be, like right here is perfectly level for me, all the way up inside of this fitting, jammed all the way up here. This is level, maybe a little bit high, so I need a couple of inches of play here. So anyway, for me, it ended up being about 11 inches, but you're going to figure it out for yourself. After you've determined it, mark it, take this section off here, just this section, go cut this piece to your desired length. Okay, so you run off and you've cut this. You run off and you've cut this to the desired length that you want. For me, it happened to be 11 inches, but don't go by my length. Go by, you know, what works for you. Then, of course, you're going to go ahead and apply your plumber's tape. Okay, so one last thing here that we're going to do. We've applied this. Go ahead and get your channel locks out. Bring this down nice and tight as well, because we're finished. Go ahead and install one more little piece here, and you're going to determine what that length needs to be by adjusting this piece like this. Like here, I just happen to have a little scrap piece, and I put it here and I'm like, oh, perfect. I'm going to be able to adjust my tank. So this particular little strap piece for this just happens to be about 3 inches. But you're going to determine for yourself. Like I said, don't go by my measurement. After you've got this in here, you determine how far you want it to be. You want it to be 3 inches? Cool. And if you do, it makes it so that you can move this back and forth like so. I can still place it here and get it going about 1 inch down the side. Okay? So, go through. Once you've decided where you like everything, tighten your pieces down. one section at a time. All right, so we've tightened everything down on the entire sink, right? All these fittings are tightened down. Now what you're going to do is when you're putting in your gray water tank, you're going to loosen these two pieces every time, right? Now, because the reason you're going to do this, when you transport this, you want this setting upright. So if there's any water in your pipes, it's not going to come and fall out while you're transporting your sink. You want all the water to stay in your pipes. So you're going to be able to adjust this like so. So when your sink's in use, you got all your water running in your gray water. When you're getting ready to transport your sink, you're going to be able to bring this up and adjust it like so, so that water doesn't go running out in your trailer or the back of your car or whatever you got this thing in the back of your truck. You don't want that. Okay, so as you can see, we're pretty much finished. This is what the back of the sink is going to look like after you've got the drains on here. Okay, the whole goal is to get all the water to drain from these three sinks in your hand washing sink into your gray water sink over there. And it's pretty simple to do. You know, we left everything adjustable. You just loosen or tighten, and you could bring it up or down over there. You got a lot of play on these P-traps as far as height. So it's going to be pretty simple to do, and hope you enjoyed the build.